It was one of those gray, forgettable Tuesdays in October when Emily found the wallet. She had just gotten off her shift at the diner, exhausted and aching from balancing too many coffee trays and fake smiles. The sidewalk glistened from a recent rain, and she pulled her coat tighter as the chill settled in. Her earbuds buzzed low with a forgotten playlist as she crossed the quiet street toward her apartment. That's when she saw it. A brown leather wallet, lying just beside a storm drain. Not hidden, not tossed, just there. She hesitated. People don't just drop wallets. And if they do, they don't stay dropped for long. She looked around, no one in sight. She picked it up. It was worn but elegant, with the kind of stitching you see on things meant to last. Heavy too, maybe filled with receipts or cash. Emily turned it over in her hands but didn't open it. Instead, she sighed, pushed the wallet into her tote bag, and kept walking. A few blocks later, she stopped at the nearest police station. The place was nearly empty, save for a tired-looking officer at the desk. She slid the wallet across the counter. "Found this near 8th and Main," she said. The officer raised an eyebrow. "Did you look inside?" "No," she replied. "Didn't feel right." He gave her a long look, nodded, and took her name for the record. She left with no expectations, just a quiet sense that she'd done the right thing. She didn't know that this small act would change her entire life. Ross nodded. "That's what makes this so interesting." Gerald had been missing for over 24 hours when his daughter reported it. "Your return of the wallet helped us pinpoint his last location." Emily frowned. "I don't understand. Was he robbed?" Ross hesitated. "No. We believe he may have chosen to disappear. He was suffering from early-onset dementia. That wallet? It had over $2,000 in cash. You didn't take a cent." Emily shook her head. "Of course not. That's rare," Ross said simply. "And it caught his daughter's attention. She wants to meet you." Later that day, Emily found herself standing in the polished marble lobby of a downtown law firm. A woman in a navy suit, not much older than Emily, greeted her. "I'm Claire Whitmore," she said, offering a handshake. "My father spoke about you before he passed. Said a kind soul had saved his last moment of clarity." Emily's eyes widened. "He remembered me?" Claire nodded. "He said he dropped the wallet on purpose, hoping the person who found it might be honest. He was testing humanity in a way." Emily didn't know what to say. Claire continued, "He left a letter, and something else." She handed Emily an envelope. Inside, a check for $10,000 and a handwritten note that simply read, "You gave me faith. Pay it forward someday. G.W." Emily sat down, stunned. Her life had just changed, with a single choice not to look inside a wallet. She tried to return the check. "I can't accept this." But Claire shook her head. "It's what he wanted. He'd lost hope in people. You gave him one final glimpse of goodness." That night, Emily couldn't sleep. The weight of it all pressed on her. She wasn't used to being noticed, let alone rewarded. She used part of the money to fix her car and pay overdue rent. But most of it, she tucked away, unsure of what pay it forward might look like. All she knew was that someday she would know. And when that day came, she would be ready. Kindness, it turns out, doesn't just echo, it circles back. And sometimes, the smallest choice becomes the moment that rewrites everything. Over the next few weeks, Emily felt like her world had subtly shifted. She started noticing small things she used to ignore. Strangers holding the door open, a neighbor offering her an umbrella during a downpour, a free coffee from the barista who noticed she looked tired. She began to wonder, how many of those moments had passed her by before? Was kindness always around, waiting for someone to acknowledge it? Then one morning, at the grocery store, she noticed a boy, no older than 10, frantically searching the ground near the self-checkout machines. He looked close to tears. "Hey," she said gently, kneeling beside him. "You okay?" He sniffled. "I lost the 20 my mom gave me. She's gonna be mad." Emily didn't hesitate. She pulled a 20 from her wallet and handed it to him. "Here, I think this might be yours." His eyes lit up. "Really?" She smiled. "Really? That simple moment stayed with her all day. Maybe this was how you pay it forward. Not through grand gestures, but through small, quiet acts that no one expects and few remember, except the people it touches. She started carrying extra granola bars in her bag for the homeless, left post-it notes with encouraging words on bathroom mirrors, donated anonymously to a local shelter, and with every small act, she felt something unfamiliar blooming inside her. Hope. A few days later, she got a call from the local community center. "Is this Emily Carter?" a woman asked. "Yes. You've been nominated for our annual Compassion in Action Award." Emily laughed nervously. "There must be a mistake." "I don't think so. We've had several anonymous submissions about your acts of kindness around the neighborhood. We'd love for you to attend the ceremony." Emily hesitated. I don't do these things for awards." The woman chuckled. "That's exactly why you were nominated." At the ceremony, she sat in the back, wearing her nicest dress, one she hadn't worn since her college graduation. When her name was called, she almost didn't stand. But then she remembered Gerald Whitmore's letter. "You gave me faith. Pay it forward someday." So she stepped onto the stage, heart pounding, hands shaking. The small crowd clapped, many smiling warmly. A few people even mouthed thank you. She gave a short speech, nothing fancy, just a heartfelt thank you, and a reminder that one good decision can echo further than we imagine. As she stepped down, someone pressed a small folded note into her hand. She opened it when she got home. "My father would have been proud." Emily sat by her window that night, gazing out at the streetlights, her heart strangely full. Everything still felt the same. Her small apartment, her modest job, her quiet nights with Luna. But something deep inside had shifted. She had learned that good deeds don't go unnoticed, even if they don't go viral. They ripple, quietly, meaningfully. That weekend, she volunteered at a local food drive. No one knew her there. She stacked canned goods and handed out warm meals, content just to help. As she was cleaning up, a teenage boy approached her shyly. "Hey," he said, holding out a note. "Someone told me to give you this." Emily opened it. "You've inspired more than you know. Keep shining. See." Again, no clue, no last name, no one in sight. But now it didn't matter who it was. The message had reached her. She smiled and folded the note into her pocket, where Gerald's letter still lived. Later that night, as she watched Luna doze on her blanket, Emily whispered, "Maybe the world isn't so cold after all." Luna wagged her tail in agreement. Emily straightened, slipping the leash from its hook by the door. "Let's go, girl." The quiet creak of the door opening let in the cool morning air. Leaves danced lazily on the sidewalk, golden and red, the kind that always made Emily nostalgic for simpler times. As they walked, Luna trotted ahead, occasionally glancing back to make sure Emily was close. Their morning route took them past the coffee shop, the florist, and the bench where Emily had found the wallet just a week ago. She slowed slightly as they approached it. It was still there, the memory, not the wallet. A strange stillness hung in the air, as if the world paused to acknowledge something had shifted that day. She could still picture it clearly. The leather worn at the edges, the small scuff near the corner. She hadn't hesitated. She'd picked it up and gone straight to the nearest police station. A jogger passed, breaking her thoughts. Emily gave Luna's leash a gentle tug and kept moving. Back home, she poured herself a cup of tea and checked the time. 9:42 a.m. She had just sat down at the kitchen table when a sudden, sharp knock startled her. Luna barked once, then fell silent. Emily frowned. She wasn't expecting anyone. Another knock, firmer this time. She stood, her heart giving a nervous flutter. Pulling open the door, she froze. 2 uniformed officers stood on her porch. "Emily Carter?" one asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes." The taller officer offered a polite, measured smile. "I'm Officer Green, and this is Officer Patel. May we come in for a moment?" Emily's pulse quickened. She glanced instinctively at Luna, who stood stiffly beside her. "Is something wrong?" she asked, stepping aside without waiting for the answer. Just a few questions, Officer Patel said as they entered. Emily led them to the small living room, her mind racing. She tried to recall if she'd missed a bill or broken some obscure law. The wallet flickered into her thoughts. Officer Green remained standing, hands folded. Last week, you turned in a lost wallet at the precinct. Is that correct? Emily nodded. Yes, I found it by the bench near Maple and 3rd. I didn't look inside, just handed it in. That's what the report says, Officer Patel replied, opening a small notepad. And thank you for your honesty. It's rare these days. Emily managed a nervous smile. Did the owner come forward? Green and Patel exchanged a glance. That's what we need to talk to you about, Green said. The wallet belonged to a Mr. Thomas Langley. Do you recognize the name? Emily shook her head. He was reported missing 2 days ago, Green said quietly. We traced his last known transaction to that area. The wallet you returned was the last item linked to him. Emily's breath caught. Missing? But I just found it lying there. You're not in trouble, Patel assured her quickly. But we need to understand exactly where and when you found it. Any detail could help. Emily leaned forward, her voice low. I remember everything. Emily took a shaky breath, her hands curled tightly in her lap. It was last Thursday morning, around 8:30. I was walking Luna just like today. The wallet was on the bench, right on the edge, like someone left it there in a hurry. Officer Patel jotted notes while Officer Green watched her carefully. Did you see anyone nearby? He asked. Emily thought hard. No, it was quiet. A couple of dog walkers across the street, but I didn't see anyone near the bench. Green nodded slowly. Did you touch anything inside the wallet? ID? Cash? Anything? No, she said. I didn't even open it. I don't know, it didn't feel right. Like it wasn't mine to open. Patel looked up from her notes. There was quite a bit of money inside. Emily's eyes widened. I didn't know. That's part of why we're here, Green added. The Langley family was surprised. They didn't think anyone would return something so valuable untouched. Emily blinked. How much was in there? Over $5,000, Patel said quietly. Cash. Folded bills. Emily sat back, stunned. She tried to imagine the kind of person who carried that much around and why. We're not accusing you of anything, Green added gently. In fact, Mr. Langley's daughter insisted we thank you personally. But with him missing, every detail matters. Emily's heart softened. His daughter, is she okay? She's shaken, Patel said, and she's asked to speak with you. Emily hesitated. Me? Why? She said, you're the last link to her father. Emily's throat tightened. I don't understand. I only returned a wallet. Officer Green nodded. Exactly. You did the right thing without expecting anything in return. That kind of decency left an impression, especially on his daughter. Emily looked down, unsure how to respond. Luna nudged her leg gently with her nose. Is she here? Emily asked. Not right now, Patel said. But she's asked if you'd be willing to meet her. It would mean a lot. Emily hesitated, then gave a small nod. Of course, if there's anything I can do. Patel smiled faintly. We'll set it up. The officers moved to leave, but Green paused at the door. Before we go, did you notice anything strange when you found the wallet? Anything out of the ordinary? Emily furrowed her brow. There was a scarf. A scarf. Green repeated. Yes, deep red, draped on the bench next to the wallet. I remember because it fluttered in the wind. It was beautiful, like it didn't belong there. Patel and Green exchanged a glance. Do you recall anything else? Smells? Sounds? Patel asked. Emily closed her eyes. There was music playing faintly. A violin, I think. Someone must have been practicing nearby. I only noticed it for a second before it stopped. Officer Green scribbled something into his notebook. Emily looked between them. What's going on? Is Mr. Langley in danger? Green's voice lowered. We're not sure yet, but his car was found 2 blocks away. Unlocked, keys still inside. And no signs of him. Emily's stomach sank. Green met her eyes. You may have been closer to something than you realized. Emily stood frozen as the words echoed in her ears. Closer to something. She had only been walking her dog. It was supposed to be just another ordinary morning. I wish I had noticed more, she said softly. You've remembered more than most would, Officer Patel assured her, closing her notepad. Sometimes small details are the key. With that, the officers thanked her again and left. Emily closed the door slowly, then leaned against it, exhaling shakily. Luna whined and pressed her head against Emily's leg. I didn't ask for any of this, she whispered, rubbing Luna's fur. The rest of the day passed in a fog. She couldn't concentrate on work. Every time she sat at her laptop, her mind wandered back to that bench, the wallet, the red scarf, the violin. By evening, the sky had turned a dusky violet, and Emily finally settled on the couch with a bowl of soup. The quiet was thick. She left the TV off. Somehow, noise didn't feel right. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hi, Ms. Carter. This is Evelyn Langley. The officer said you were open to meeting. Thank you. Would tomorrow morning work? Emily stared at the message. A wave of hesitation passed through her. But then she typed back. Yes, I'll be there. Just send the address. Almost immediately, a new message arrived. A coffee shop in Brookdale. 10 a.m. She read it twice. Then again. Luna looked up at her as if to say, You sure about this? Emily gave a small nod. I guess we're going on a little trip. Emily leaned in, her voice low. Find someone? Do you mean a person from his past? Evelyn nodded slowly, fingers tightening around her mug. My father wasn't the kind of man who carried cash or forgot things. Something about that day, it was different. He told me, the night before, that he was going out early to make something right. Emily felt a chill dance along her arms. Do you know what he meant? I don't, Evelyn admitted. But I think you were part of it. Or at least, someone he wanted to cross paths with. Emily shook her head, confused. We never met. I would have remembered. I believe you, Evelyn said gently. But the fact that you found his wallet, and not someone who would have stolen it, that matters. They sat in silence for a moment as a server passed by, refilling Evelyn's coffee. She didn't touch it. I need to ask, Emily said carefully. Was there anything in the wallet? Something personal? Evelyn's eyes flickered. A photo, very old, faded. It was tucked behind the bills, like it had been there for decades. Emily waited. It was of a little girl and her dog, Evelyn said. The back had writing, just one word. Forgive. Emily's breath caught. Something pulled deep inside her chest. She had no memory of such a photo, but the word and the timing. Evelyn looked at her closely. I thought maybe you'd know who she was. Emily swallowed hard. I'm not sure, but maybe we can find out. Evelyn nodded. I've already started. There's more, and I want you to see it. Evelyn reached into her leather bag and carefully pulled out a small manila envelope. She slid it across the table. Emily hesitated. Her fingertips brushed the flap before slowly peeling it open. Inside were 3 items. The old photograph Evelyn had mentioned, a folded newspaper clipping, and a yellowed postcard. Emily gently lifted the photo first. A little girl, no more than 6, smiled up at the camera with a small dog tucked in her arms. Shaggy, bright-eyed, familiar. A lump formed in Emily's throat. That looks like Luna, she whispered. But she's only 5. Evelyn nodded. It's not Luna, but maybe an ancestor? The resemblance is striking. Emily flipped the photo over. In neat, faded script. Forgive. She stared at the word, feeling a strange ache bloom in her chest. It wasn't recognition, it was something deeper. A longing for an answer she didn't even know she needed. She reached for the newspaper clipping next. It was dated over 20 years ago. Local girl found safe after dog alerts neighbors. Her eyes widened. It's about a girl who wandered away during a storm, Evelyn explained. She was found the next day, cold, but alive, because the family dog wouldn't stop barking until someone came. Emily scanned the article. The girl's name was Lucy N. Carter. "My last name," she whispered. "But I don't know a Lucy." Evelyn watched her carefully. Could she be a cousin? Or... Emily's heart pounded. Or maybe me. Evelyn leaned forward. "I think your paths crossed long before the wallet." Emily sat back, dazed. "But I don't remember this. I mean, if I'd gotten lost in a storm." "Trauma can do strange things," Evelyn said softly. "Memories protect us. Or hide." Emily looked again at the photo. That little girl. There was something about her posture, the shape of her eyes, a flicker of familiarity. Luna stirred in her mind, too, as if part of her remembered what her brain could not. Evelyn gently placed the third item on the table, the postcard. It was addressed to a Margaret Carter. The handwriting on the back was rushed, nearly illegible, but the message was clear. "I'm sorry I left. I should have come back sooner. Tell her I never stopped looking." There was no signature. Emily felt her breath leave her body. "Margaret. That was my mother's name." Evelyn's voice was barely above a whisper. "Emily, I think your father may have been Thomas Langley." The cafe seemed to fall silent. Emily stared at her, trying to process the impossible. Her father? The man who had disappeared 7 days ago? "I was told he died," she said, her voice cracking. "That he left when I was 2 and never came back." Evelyn swallowed hard. "My father never talked about the past. But in the last year, he changed. He started searching through old boxes, made trips alone. That wallet, he carried it every day, like he was waiting for the right moment." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. "So why now?" "I don't know," Evelyn said. "But I think he was coming to find you." Emily sat motionless, her hands trembling slightly above the table. Her mind spun with images she couldn't place, half memories, sensations. A blue blanket, a deep voice humming, then silence. She finally whispered, "If he was my father, why didn't he ever come back sooner?" Evelyn sighed, her eyes glistening. "That's what I've asked myself too. He was a good man, but not a perfect one. Maybe he was ashamed. Maybe he believed too much time had passed." Emily looked down at the photograph again, fingers tracing the soft edges. "Forgive." One word that carried the weight of a lifetime. "What happens now?" she asked. "I don't know," Evelyn said honestly, "but I want to help. If you're open to it, I'd like us to search together. For answers. For him." Emily nodded slowly. "Yes, I need to know the truth." They sat in silence, two strangers suddenly connected by a man neither fully understood. Outside, the morning had brightened, and the streets of Brookdale moved on as if nothing had changed. But something had. Evelyn finally stood. "I have one more thing. His journal. It's mostly work notes, but the last few pages, they're personal." Emily's heart skipped. "Can I read them?" Evelyn reached into her bag and gently handed over a small leather-bound book. "Take your time." As Emily took the journal, their hands touched. Lightly, but long enough for something unspoken to pass between them. Lost. Hope. The beginning of something fragile and real. The next morning, Emily stood again at the bench on Maple and 3rd. She brought the journal with her. She didn't know why. It just felt like the place deserved to feel his presence again. The same red leaves swirled across the pavement. The same breeze whispered through the trees. But now she saw it all differently. She knelt beside the bench and gently laid the journal on the seat. "You found me," she whispered, "even if you couldn't stay." Luna sat quietly beside her, ears alert, sensing something sacred in the moment. Footsteps approached. Emily turned to see Evelyn walking toward her, bundled in a long coat, holding something in her hand. "I thought I might find you here," Evelyn said. Emily smiled softly. "I couldn't stay home." Evelyn joined her on the bench, revealing what she'd brought. An old silver locket. This was in his desk. It had no photo, but I think he meant to give it to someone. Emily held it delicately, as if it might vanish. "Thank you." They sat in silence, two daughters of a man neither had truly known completely. one by time, the other by blood. And yet, he had bound them in a way few could understand. "I think he hoped we'd meet," Evelyn said. Emily nodded. "And maybe this was never about the wallet. Maybe it was about the return." Later that week, Evelyn and Emily returned to the police station one last time. Officer Green greeted them with a solemn nod. There was still no sign of Thomas Langley, but now the case carried a different weight. They weren't just searching for a missing man. They were carrying his final message. "We've exhausted all leads," Green admitted. "But if he left that wallet with intent, maybe this was his way of giving you closure." Emily glanced at the photo in her hand of the little girl and the dog. She would frame it, maybe, or keep it tucked in the journal. But she wouldn't hide from it anymore. Outside, Evelyn touched her shoulder. "You know, my father always said that the right people show up at the right time." Emily turned to her. "Do you think that's true?" "I do," Evelyn replied, "even if they're a little late." They smiled, sisters, perhaps not by blood, but by fate. In the days that followed, Emily found herself walking a little slower, noticing the way the leaves moved, the scent of the air after rain. She began writing again. Stories, journal entries, even letters to a man she never got to meet but somehow still loved. And she started volunteering, returning small things for others. A coat left on a bus, a wallet dropped at the market. She became, without realizing it, the kind of person Thomas must have hoped she'd be. Someone who returned what others lost. One evening, Emily stood in her kitchen, the sun dipping low behind the windows, casting golden light across the walls. Luna was curled up at her feet, snoring gently. On the table sat the old silver locket. Emily finally opened it. Inside, tucked in the tiniest corner, was a second compartment she hadn't noticed before. Carefully, she opened it and found a tiny folded scrap of paper. In faded ink, it read, "I saw her once." She smiled. That was enough. Emily pressed the note to her chest. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks. That was enough. In that moment, she didn't feel abandoned. She felt chosen, remembered, loved in the quiet way only some people know how to give. Outside, the wind shifted. Luna lifted her head, ears perked, as if hearing something only she could understand. Emily walked to the porch, the cool air brushing her face, and looked up at the stars just beginning to appear. And somewhere in the silence, it felt like he was there, watching, smiling, not saying goodbye, just letting go. The end.